Welcome to my channel. (1967) Apollo 1. Apollo 1 was the first crewed mission of the United States Apollo program. It was set to launch on February 21, 1967. However, tragedy would strike and the mission never took place. Sadly, during a launch rehearsal on January 27, a fire broke out in the command module and killed all 3 crew members inside. The crew members for Apollo 1 were, Command Pilot, Virgil I. Grissom, known as Gus, Senior Pilot, Ed White, and Pilot Roger Chaffee. It had been in October 1966 that NASA first announced that the flight of Apollo 1 would carry on board a small television camera so the crew could broadcast from inside the command module. It was 1 p.m. on January 27 when all 3 crew members entered the command module. They were strapped into their seats and were getting ready for the rehearsal. However, once inside the command module, pilot Virgil Grissom noticed a strange smell in the air, and the countdown was held off while air samples could be taken. However, it was never determined where the smell was coming from, and the countdown was held off until later in the afternoon. Eventually, the hatch door installation process began, but it was found that Virgil Grissom's microphone was having problems, and again the countdown was delayed. At 6:30 that evening, the countdown was still on hold. Because of this, the crew inside the module decided to run through the checklist once more. It is believed that just 9 seconds into this, someone from inside the module is heard saying fire. Then someone is heard saying I've got a fire in the cockpit. It wasn't long after this communication that painful cries were heard from inside the module. The fire inside had spread rapidly and it is believed this was due to the amount of combustible materials inside the module. Rescue efforts were prevented by the door hatch, which could not be opened against the internal pressure of the module. It took 5 minutes for the rescuers to eventually open all 3 hatch layers and see inside. But it was now clear from this that all 3 crew members did not survive the fire. Investigations now began into the cause of this tragedy. Several major factors were identified, but it was determined that the electrical power had momentarily failed, and there was evidence found of electric arcs. It was also determined that the fire most likely started near to the floor in the lower left section of the module. Along with this, the amount of combustible materials inside helped fuel the fire and the crew didn't stand a chance. After the fire, the manned Apollo missions were suspended for 20 months while the command module could be reviewed and redesigned. Virgil Grissom and Roger Chaffee were buried at Arlington National Cemetery, while Ed White was buried at West Point Cemetery. Their names were put among those astronauts who had died in the line of duty at the Space Memorial at Kennedy Space Center, Florida. President Jimmy Carter awarded the Congressional Space Medal of Honor posthumously to Virgil Grissom on October 1, 1978, while President Bill Clinton awarded this to Ed White and Roger Chaffee on December 17, 1997. An Apollo 1 mission patch was left on the Moon's surface after the first moon landing of Apollo 11. Along with this is a tiny statue which reads Fallen Astronaut, and a plaque with the names of the Apollo 1 astronauts. We forever remember Virgil Grissom, Ed White, and Roger Chaffee who died in this tragedy. May you always be remembered. Thank you for watching and learning about these events from history. Please subscribe to my channel to view other events throughout the decades.